Welcome back to Whisper Tactical, guys. My name's John, and man, does it feel good to be home. I am no longer sleeping in a hospital chair, and what's even better than that is my daughter is home. She is safe, she is healthy, and she has been seizure and fever free for about a week now. We did have to take her to the hospital a couple of days ago. She had to get some braces put on her legs. I had braces on my legs when I was a kid, and we knew that was going to happen. So other than her trying to get used to her new robot legs, is what I call them. I'll tell her, I'll be like, "You are a robot. Why are you walking like a robot? You are my little monster robot." And she just cracks up. She thinks that's the best thing in the world. So I just want to thank you all for your kind words, your thoughts, and your prayers. It meant the world to me and my fiance, and it's just, she's home, and thank you all. So continue to keep her in your thoughts and prayers. Let's go ahead and get into this video, guys. Before we get into the video though, I'd appreciate it if you'd go ahead and like, subscribe, share, comment down below, and hit that bell icon so you can be notified whenever I upload new content. Now, ammo shortage / crisis, whatever you want to call it, it's a thing. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily a shortage. We just have a higher demand than we have supply. I have talked to some higher ups in these companies. I've talked to the assembly workers. I've talked to gun stores, big gun stores, small gun stores, pawn shops, mom and pop shops, all of them, distributors. I've all got kind of the same answers from the assembly line guys and those, and I've got a lot of crazy conspiracies from like gun stores and stuff like that. So I don't even want to talk about that because it was just absurdly ridiculous. But what I got from the actual manufacturers, like the ammo companies, that's real. And I want to tell you guys what I was told. I'm not going to give names. I'm not going to give specific dates or anything like that because I was asked not to. I was asked to not give specific dates, and I'm going to hold true to that. So let's go ahead and talk about it. We've got the panic buying, the civil unrest, presidential election. There's just a lot of crazy stuff that happened in the last year that has caused a lot of people to gravitate towards being a gun owner, and that's great. Welcome. Welcome with open arms, guys. Like, we are better in numbers, per se. So let's go ahead and talk about the manufacturing side of things, what they're going to do to get a grip on this high demand, when they said ammunition's going to start to hit the shelves, and some numbers that is going to kind of make some stuff make sense. So let's go ahead and get straight into the video. Enough talking. Last year there was an estimated 50 million new gun owners. March the 12th, today, 2021, there's an estimated 10 to 20 million new gun owners. 10, 20, cut it right in half, it's 15 million. Add 15 to the 50, that's 65 million gun owners. But the thing is, 50 million gun owners, man, half of them weren't even active shooters anyway. Like, I can't tell you how many old guys I know that's got 15, 20, 30 guns in the closet with dust on them. Every single one of them wiped the dust off those guns and they went back to shooting. They picked them up and shot during hunting season, maybe kill a copperhead or something, or a coyote. Other than that, they didn't even shoot. They may have shot 10, 15 rounds a year. Now they're shooting. All these new people are getting into this new hobby, the gun owning lifestyle, and they're shooting. I know a lady down the street, her and her husband, they didn't want guns. He's like an engineer or something. She doesn't have to work, but she works at the gas station just so she's not bored. They take her gas station money and buy ammo with it and go to the range every single weekend and shoot. She herself puts at least 100 rounds through her 9mm and a couple of magazines through her 5.56, and then they play around with 22 LR. He has a 45. She doesn't like it because the recoil's too much, but he puts 100 or so rounds through his 45. So between the two of them, they're shooting at least 300 rounds a week out of the 9mm, 45 ACP, and 5.56 combined. That doesn't count their 22 LR, and I'd say they shoot a few hundred rounds of that apiece. So just them alone, they're shooting probably 700-800 rounds combined a weekend. You know, that's 2,500 to 3,000 rounds a month. Just them alone. And they've been gun owners for like 4 months. You know what I mean? They love it. They enjoy it. They're buying more guns. And that's the way it is. So you've got the demand that we used to have. The companies were able to supply that. And there was so much left on the shelves because people just didn't shoot a lot. A lot of people did, but a lot of people didn't. You know, a lot of gun owners didn't go out and run through a couple hundred rounds of 9mm every weekend like I did. Now you've got 15 million new gun owners. They go to the range at least twice a month, and they shoot anywhere between 50 to 100 rounds per range session. Now that's 100 to 200 rounds a month, so we're gonna do some simple math. We'll just say that each one of them shoots 100 rounds a month. 15 million gun owners shooting 100 rounds a month. I don't know if you can do that math that quick. That is 1.5 billion rounds a month. Last year, they said that we sold like 12, 13 billion rounds of ammo. That's how much ammo was sold in 2020 on the civilian market. 12, 13 billion rounds. 15 million gun owners, 100 rounds a month. That's 1.5 billion rounds a month. 12 months, that is 18 billion rounds. Just the 15 million new gun owners being active and shooting only 100 rounds a month, that is 6 billion more rounds being shot this year alone than what was bought in the entirety of 2020, and that doesn't even count the original 50 million gun owners. So now we'll bring all of it into play. 65 million gun owners, and we'll average it out at 100 rounds a month. I shoot every bit of 3,000 or 4,000 rounds a month, but we'll average it out at 100 rounds a month. That is like 6.5 billion rounds a month. 6.5 billion rounds a month. That is 78 billion rounds in a year that's projected to be shot this year alone. 78 billion rounds if each gun owner shoots 100 rounds a month. And that's happening. That's happening. 9 out of 10 gun owners are going to the range 1 to 2 times a month and shooting. And that's just the truth. That's just how it is. And then you've got YouTubers, you've got trainers, you've got people that are wanting to be trained. You've got law enforcement, government agencies. Like, you have to understand how many billions and billions and billions of rounds are going to be fired this year, and they just couldn't keep up with that. The manufacturers just couldn't keep up with that. I mean, that's just as simple as that. Now, what are they going to do about that? So 6 months ago, they weren't going to add any new lines in. They weren't going to pay any money to add new machinery, hire people. They weren't going to do nothing like that because they thought it was just like every other presidential election. People start buying stuff because a new president's going to get elected. They're afraid they're going to come and take all of our guns. Then after a few months into the new presidency, everything calms back down. Okay? Not this time. This time, they realized that it's not going to be like that. They realized that there are a lot of new active gun owners as well as hunters, and they are going to have to really ramp up supplies. So now these companies are investing millions of dollars into their companies to expand. They want to get bigger. They know that they need to produce at least 25% more ammunition than they've always produced. Okay? And how long is that going to take? Well, there's some things that you have to understand about the way manufacturing works. So this guy probably sent an email around December, was like, hey man, this ain't calming down anytime soon. We've got this many new gun owners and we need to ramp up supply. Manufacturing. Declined. Probably end of February, the guy was finally like, oh yeah, we can make more money, we can do this, and it's time to grow, blah, blah, blah. You're approved. Okay, so it took 2 months just to get the guy to approve wanting to add in a new line. Hire new people, have to probably pay a higher insurance premium, drug tests, new HR people, new maintenance guys. There's a lot of stuff that comes with hiring new people and adding a new line into a factory. You have to understand that. So now that it took them 2 months to get it approved, they've got to go to the drawing board. They're going to draw everything up. They've got engineers talking. Everybody's working together. Maintenance guys are working. Everybody's doing their own thing. And now they see it. There it is. It's envisioned. It's not made yet. It's envisioned. Okay, now that we know what we're going to do, let's order it. Everything's ordered. Money's transferred. Bank loans come through because these companies just don't keep around $19 million to buy a line. Bank loans come through. Everything comes through the way it's supposed to. Machines are shipped over here probably from Japan or somewhere. Guys come and they build them. It takes a couple of months to get everything up and running. So from the time they put in their first request until the machines are built, it's a solid 6 to 8 months. I mean, and that's no joke. Now that they've got them built and they've got them up and running, now these engineers, the quality guys, they get together and they start making ammo. You've got one line. Now that one line doesn't run one caliber. That's the thing. It can run, we'll say one line can run every handgun caliber. They just got to do line changes and change over some parts within the line. They got to change this over to take this casing instead of this casing, and they've got to change this thing to hold on to this diameter bullet and push it down into, you know what I mean? They've got to do all of of that stuff. Different powder charges, different powders in general, different charges, different weights, different bullet weights. Like, there's a lot of stuff that goes into this. I mean, the same machine that makes 110 grain 300 blackout might not be the same machine that makes the 220 grain subsonic, because there's different powder charges. I mean, there's a lot of different stuff that goes into it. They'll have to run thousands and thousands of test rounds, and they'll have to mark a red X on them, send them to quality control. They'll thoroughly inspect them, and they'll measure them, and they'll do their thing, and they'll say, well, it was all great, but 1 out of every 7 rounds was seated 0.062 of an inch too far down into the case. So then they have to go rerun it, and they fix it, then they do a line change, and they go to the next caliber and they do it, and they have to do that with all of them to make sure everything is good, because they want to make sure that the quality of their product is on par with what the customer expects. Does that make sense? So they can't just say, there's a lot of customers that are just like, I don't know why they just can't speed things up and just mass produce it. Well, technically they could. We'll just give this as an example. We'll just say Federal makes 500 rounds of 9mm in a minute. Box up 10 boxes in 1 minute. Technically, they could probably ramp that up to 10 boxes in 50 seconds, but where would their quality go? Like, wouldn't you rather have quality over quantity? Companies aren't going to risk their name to try to make the customer happy for a minute, because it may make the customers happy for a minute, but later on down the road, once they start having squib loads and they're new gun owners and they don't know what a squib load is, and they pull the trigger a second time with the bullet lodged in the barrel and they blow their gun up, and then now they're blind or they've blown their hand off, then they're going to be pretty upset. Especially if it's a little kid that's shooting around practicing outside with dad and catches a squib load, and before dad can take the gun away, he pulls the trigger a second time and injures a little kid. So they can't do that. They can't just ramp it up and just start mass producing this stuff as fast as they can and dip on their quality control. It's just not how it works. Now they've done quality control, everything's running good. Now they bring the people in, they train them, they start running the lines, everything's good. The maintenance guys come, fix machines that break, run diagnostics, find out what's happening here and where and why this is messed up, and they fix it. And there's just a lot of stuff that goes into it. Not only that, but companies have to pay insurance premiums to be able to run, to allow people to come in the door. Say we've got 100 people in this factory and there's 5,000 square foot. I don't know, this is just an example. Because there's so many people per square foot, once they add in a new line and they take up more space and then they hire 40 new people, that's a lot more people in a space. That makes everything more confined, which is more likely to have an accident. Someone's bound to get hurt, and that insurance is going to have to pay out a premium to a hospital because somebody cut their finger off or kicked something, the edge of a machine, and broke their shin or something. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. From the time they put in the request to get the new line up and running, from the time it gets approved to the time that it's up and running and people are trained and it's sending product out the door, takes about a year. And they didn't start adding on to their companies until this year. They didn't do that in 2020. They just couldn't afford to. So now that they realize that they're doing it, that they have to do it, now things are going to start to clear up. But it's not going to be anytime soon. They did say that by the end of 2021, we should start seeing more ammo hit the shelves. But it's going to be far, far, far into the future before we really see anything like we used to see. 9mm at $8 a box, $10 a box, that's a thing of the past. That's never going to happen again. 5.56 under 50 cents a round, odds are it's never going to happen again. 300 blackout may get back down to where it's 75 cents, $1 a round, but it's never going to be cheaper than that. I'm never going to be able to buy 300 blackout for $10 a box again. It's just not going to happen. And that's going to be that way with a lot of ammunitions. So now let's talk about the backlog and why they're going to be running 25% more. Now I'm going to talk to you about the backlog. Just because these companies added in new lines and have started running, say, 25% more product, that doesn't mean that it's all going to go straight and hit the shelves. I mean, people are going to think, well, they've added new this, but it's the end of 2021. We should have ammo on the shelves now because they're running 25% more product than what they used to run. Well, you got to understand, you've got government contracts and you've got backlogs. Now, there are companies that are pre-selling ammo. The ammo is sold and the companies get the money before the ammo manufacturers even have the product to make the product. Does that make sense? Like, this ammo sold 6 months before it's even going to be made. But the company that's selling it as a pre-sale already has the contract that it's backlogged and it's going to come on and at this time. So they'll pre-sell it. They'll get that money. They'll, do whatever they're going to do, and they pre-sell it. So there are backlog and there are little orders and contracts that have to be met. Okay, so this is an example. Don't hold this. This is not real. This is just an example to make some people understand how backlogs work. Say Federal can make 100,000 rounds of 9mm in a month. This is just an example. I don't know how much they can make, but say they make 100,000 rounds in a month. Okay, 50,000 rounds of those goes to backlogs. 50,000 rounds goes out to the public. Well, the backlog is getting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper every day. Now they've upgraded everything and now they can run 125,000 rounds. So 75,000 rounds goes to the backlog. So finally it's starting to chip away at it. But imagine a 500,000 round backlog. Every single month, that extra 25% chips away at that backlog. Now it goes down. It's going to take months of chipping away at that backlog before they're able to get more out onto the shelves. So just because they're upgrading now, and just because we're going to see more ammo hit the shelves in late 2021, doesn't mean that they have been able to meet the demand. Doesn't mean they've been able to supply the demand. I hope that makes sense. I hope you can understand that. It may be 2 to 3 years in the future before they ever get that backlog chipped away. I mean, it may be a long time before contracts are met, orders are met, and that backlog is gone, and everything can just start stacking on the shelves again. It may be 2025 before we see that. No one knows. But what we do know is that companies are investing millions and millions of dollars and a lot of time and a lot of effort into making sure that they get ammunition out to the public. There is no government conspiracies. The ammo companies are not working with a tyrannical government to take our guns and our ammo from us. That's not what's happening. You understand that, right? The people that work for these companies, they're not in the government. They're normal, everyday people like us. They like to shoot. They have hobbies. They have families. They're not interested in working with a tyrannical government to take our guns and to leave us like defenseless. That's not what they're there for. They're there to make a living and go home at the end of the day. They do what they do because they enjoy the Second Amendment and they enjoy guns. You understand? There's no conspiracies of wanting to leave us defenseless. There is no ammo shortage because the government's buying it all. That's not true. That's just not true. So I hope I was able to answer a lot of your questions with this video today. I hope I was able to make some sense, and I hope that I put some of you all at ease. So just know, by the end of the summer, actually they said around October, actually the guy said around Halloween, Thanksgiving, Halloween, maybe Christmas-ish, you should start seeing more ammo on the shelves. Like, people may be getting ammo for Christmas. That was the joke that he said, people might be able to get some ammo for Christmas this year. So hopefully by the end of 2021, we're going to start to see, we're going to start to see things start to get a little bit better. But hey, look, here's the deal. If they ramp up supply and they're trying to meet the demand, and then 15 million more people decide they want to buy guns, and we go from having 50 million to 65 million to not being able to keep up, and then finally they're able to keep up with 65 million, and then 15 more million jump in, and we've got 80 million gun owners, it's going to be a never-ending thing. But that's how businesses grow. Just because they're not equipped to meet the demand of the people doesn't mean there's a shortage. Doesn't mean you need to panic or anything like that. It just means that it's time for that business to grow, and thank God that the gun industry is growing. Instead of getting mad and being upset and just being stressed out, be happy. Be happy. Shoot what you can shoot when you can shoot it. If you can't shoot, then get yourself an iTarget Pro or a Mantis X Pro or whatever that is. Get yourself a dry fire system. Work out. Go to the gym. I'm going to do a video on exercises that gun owners need to do, and it's got to do with just some eye workouts, some hand workouts, some forearms, working on hand-eye coordination, being able to just, I can't do it with these balls because they're not heavy, just being able to juggle. But yeah, just some hand-eye coordination, just some simple techniques that can make you a better shooter overall. There are certain muscle groups that you use whenever you present, whenever you pull the trigger. You use muscles in your hands and your fingers and in your wrists and your forearms. You didn't even know you had them to help mitigate that recoil. So there's a lot of things that you can do in the meantime while you're waiting on ammo that can overall make you a far more proficient shooter than you already are. So look into stuff like that. Work out. out, do some yoga, calm down, be stress-free, and just wait for everything to calm down. Buy what you need to protect your family. Set that to the side. If you want to go shoot and practice, then just fork over a little bit of extra money. Go get yourself some rounds and put some rounds down range, and then dry fire. Dry fire, dry fire, dry fire, dry fire. Simple as that. That's all we can do, guys. All we have is time. All we have is time. Guys, thank you all for everything you all are doing for me. I'm humbled that I have 4,300 subscribers, almost 4,300. It means a lot to me. Thank you all for your prayers and your kind words for my daughter. Continue to keep her in your prayers. She's still got 5 years before she's supposed to grow out of this, so it's still a worry. But guys, thank you all so much. I hope this answered a lot of questions for a lot of you all. I hope a lot of you all don't get mad at me and call me stupid and ignorant and call me an idiot like some have already done. But you know, I'm just relaying the message. You know, I mean, it is what it is. I'm just a normal guy trying to make a career on YouTube so I can stay home with my baby girl. When she needs me, I want to be there for her, and that's what I'm doing this for. I want to be able to stay home with her. I don't want to have to ask permission to be off work so I can go to the hospital with my sick baby and lose my job because of it. I don't want that. I want to be my own boss, and I need you all to subscribe to my channel so I can do that. So, on that note, guys, please like, subscribe, share, comment down below. Hit that bell icon so you can be notified whenever I upload new content. And until next time, I love you, and y'all stay safe.